Hello YouTube, my name is Alex. Welcome back to the Lifting Nomad. I am still here at home, but lots to share and lots to plan as we go towards the future. If it's your first time here, I am someone who pretty much travels the world, works remote, and stays in shape while doing it. So in this particular video, I want to share something that I've learned along the way, and basically 3 simple things that I've noticed to increase your intelligence, to seem more smart, let's say, intelligent, more put together. And first of all, I just want to preface this by saying I am not a genius by any stretch of the word. There are hundreds and thousands and millions of people who are smarter than me, doctors and scientists and philosophers, all of this. But one thing I've noticed, and I've been to over 30 countries, I make good money, I've done some pretty cool things. There's 3 main sort of elements or behaviors I've noticed in those who have displayed above average levels of intelligence, and myself included. I've been called a lot of things throughout my life, but idiotic or an idiot or stupid has never really been one. And I don't think it's because I'm particularly intelligent. I just display these 3 things. So that's the intro. Let's get into it. All right, so the first behavior or trait or habit or hobby, the most common that I see in intelligent people is something that I've learned to be called, let's say, intellectual osmosis. And essentially it's just absorbing the information and the vernacular and the verbiage and the tonality of things you're seeing on a daily basis. So I'll give you a real world example that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. Sunday afternoon football, Red Zone. 7 hours of commercial-free football, one of the most entertaining things that I can watch on a Sunday. And look at this scenario. If you put your ass on the couch for 7 hours, nothing wrong with it. I do it all the time, it's great. I'm just saying, if you do that all day, you watch all the games, you pay attention to the Red Zone, even 50% of your mental capacity, 25%, you're having a couple beers, having nachos, talking to the boys. Come Monday morning, whether you're on Zoom, whether you're back in the office, whether you're at the gym, the construction site, whatever it is for you, you're likely going to be able to articulate who won which games, any particular plays that stood out, any controversy that happened. So if someone did a dirty hit and got suspended, anything like that, you're likely going to remember that and be able to regurgitate what game it happened in, which window of the red zone that game was in, who committed the act or did the incredible play, whatever it was, pretty accurately within that 24-hour period. And it's a pretty miraculous thing if you think about it, that your mind is just, even while you're not even really paying attention, it's absorbing this information and being able to categorize it, understand it, back together to share with someone else. So something pretty cool just to think about there. Recording this up in Canada, and the weather started to get a little windy, and I was worried the camera might blow over, so I just closed the garage and moved over. But like I was saying, you'd be able to categorize and redisplay that information to someone else, even though they weren't there. So that process, I consider it, it's basically just mental absorption. You're learning, you're understanding new things, and then you're compartmentalizing it, and then being able to break it down easily for someone else. Pretty amazing feat that your brain's able to do. And another good example I like to think about is things like TikTok right now, right? There's this whole generation of Gen Z and younger where, myself, I'm in my late 20s, I'm a millennial. There's certain phrases that I was a little behind on. A lot of TikTok speaks in kind of a different language right now, right? And what do you think you're gonna absorb more of? If you're just looking at TikTok all day through Instagram Reels, you're browsing through, you're seeing things like what's Trill Fam or that baddie got a nice bunda, things like that. Or the other person who's listening to Huberman Lab or More Plates, More Dates, or reading listening to audiobooks, reading books, who's going to say things like sunk cost fallacy and genetic predisposition, and being able to generally just speak more eloquently is a direct result of the things they're exposed to. So day in, day out, you're not gonna notice this Monday to Tuesday, but over a year's time frame of listening to intellectual podcasts from industry experts, whatever that is, fitness, health, nutrition. My sister's big into young brain development, things like that, psychology. If you're listening to that, you're gonna pick up on the words and phrasing and tonality that they use. If you're watching Netflix shows all day, whatever it is that you're absorbing, that's just what you're going to reflect. And I'm not saying there's anything bad with any of the examples I just used. Purely that you're absorbing that on a day-to-day basis, and then that's what you're going to be able to regurgitate and understand and share with other people as well. Cool. Okay, so the second thing that I've noticed, and this is a really common theme as well, lately I've been listening to a lot of podcasts talking about psychology and mental development, and one of the ones I've been listening to a lot is actually called the Happiness Lab with Dr. Laurie Santos. And the last episode had a pretty cool concept that she talked about, which was this idea of a psychological immune system. And basically how it works is it rationalizes your critical thinking and your decisions to justify it, no matter whether it's right or wrong. And this is common in everything you're seeing in the news these days, right? No matter which side of the fence you fall on for any decision, political, nutritional, bodybuilding, whatever even like abstract idea you're talking about, conspiracy theories, if you are proven wrong or you're proven right, your mind will rationalize that no matter what. So even if you, let's say, make the wrong decision, your brain will try and justify it in order to protect itself, and that's like that psychological immune system. So those people who are able to show that above average level of intelligence are actually able to break through it by critically thinking and critically reflecting on their own decisions to have that sense of, okay, maybe I did make the right or wrong decision. Maybe I wasn't right in that argument. Maybe this wasn't the best decision for me. And that ability to reflect on your day-to-day decisions, your larger life decisions, who you marry, who you're friends with, what sort of jobs you take, is incredibly effective in making sure your decisions are better in the future, right? Of course, we can do trial and error, like we've all seen, maybe as a kid, you touch a hot stove, you burn yourself, you realize it's hot, right? You can do that so much faster by reflecting on your decisions and learning from other people's bad decisions. You have the opportunity to grow and learn and then reflect on those decisions. Should I have built the foundation of my house myself? Probably not. That's something where you're gonna need a specialist. But little things throughout the day you can be reflective on as well. And then larger life decisions, when you're changing jobs, look back on that job. Did I make the right decision? Where would I have ended up if I had have gone a different path? And it's, sometimes you're gonna get that FOMO, but a lot of the times, as long as you're thinking of it in a positive way, like what did I learn? What was the outcome of this? How can I make things better next time? You're gonna position yourself in a way to more accurately make better decisions in the future. And then of course, how people look at someone who's making good decisions, typically they're gonna consider that person to be intelligent. Now, the third and final thing that I've found to be beneficial for myself mostly, but I've noticed it a lot in public speakers and political figures. A couple people when I was doing this preparation for this video, I thought of off the top of my head, like Obama, Elon Musk, Andrew Huberman is a good example. I talked about him earlier, as well as William McRaven. He wrote the book Make Your Bed. He gave that commencement speech talking about the Navy SEAL training program and how important making your bed was. But if you actually listen to not what they say, but how they say it, it's very powerful. And a lot of it has to do with pausing and slowing down their speech. So actually not jumping the gun in a conversation. I'm in software sales, and there's a product called Gong that's pretty popular in our industry. And one of the things it analyzes in conversations between two people, it basically records and then breaks down the analytics of a conversation between two people. And one of the things it measures is patience. And they actually have this sweet spot of where someone is answering a question or asking a question, and then me as a sales rep, how long I wait to respond to that question. And they've actually mathematically analyzed millions of calls and identified that sweet spot that's actually about 2 to 4 seconds of a delay. So we've all had those conversations with someone who's like, really outspoken, and before you can even finish your sentence, they're jumping down your throat. And you immediately sort of lose respect for them, of course. And then you also are like, wow, this person's a dick, or wow, this person's kind of an idiot, right? If they're not allowing you to finish your sentence. On the contrary, we've all had a conversation with someone who's maybe older or we would consider wiser, let's say, and they tend to delay their response. And it's pretty interesting to hear where you ask them a question and actually you can see the wheels turning, right? They hear it, they understand it, they think about it, and then they respond. And if you actually focus this, you know, I did it mostly because Gong was yelling at me every day to slow down and take my time with responses. But if you actually take your time and try this in day-to-day conversations, you'll be blown away with how much more, you know, eloquently, intellectually, and well-developed your sentences can be when you're thinking about the responses. And it also has the side benefit of, if you're not sure, you can be honest about that, right? People respect honesty if you don't know something, but if you ask a question, you wait, you think about it, then you respond and say, I don't know, that's, you know, it's incredibly powerful sentiment. And I think Obama does a really, really good job of this. And again, I don't want to, like, politics aside, not what he says, but how he says it. You know, during a lot of his speeches, he could be saying, the sky's red, peanut butter doesn't go with jelly, the Cleveland Browns are a good football team, like all straight lies. And it would still sound intelligent because of the way he delivers his speech. He takes time between sentences, he pauses to think about what he's talking about. That's the same for all the people I said. I was just thinking about the Obama's, a couple of his speeches I watched before this video and it reminded me. But just try it out. I think those three things, you know, mental osmosis, considering what you're consuming on a day-to-day basis, if it's intellectual, if it's challenging you, if it's teaching you new things, you're likely going to expand your mental capacity. Second thing, being able to critically reflect on decisions you've made and understand whether you were right or wrong and actually be rational about that is going to allow you to seem more put together and make better decisions. And then the last thing is just slowing down in general in your speech. When next time you ask a question or you're asked a question, just take a second, take a breath, pause, and you know, that reminds me as well, one sales tactic, when someone asks you a question, it can be kind of awkward if you're in person to just be silent, right? So you can say, or, oh, that's interesting. Something just to like kind of kick the can down the road, like to push yourself, like it's like just, you know, give yourself a second, basically, right? So while you're saying, then you think about it. And the other person's gonna know that you're not just being weird, you're actually like considering it. So those are my three things. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, who's to say? But hopefully you found this somewhat useful. This is what I've been doing and continue to work on to try and improve my mental ability. I'm learning Spanish, so that's something that I think has helped a lot with my creativity and my sentence structure and the flow of my thoughts. So we'll see, a couple of years from now, maybe, who knows what happens. But thank you very much for watching this video. My name is Alex. If this was useful, feel free to subscribe, leave a comment down below. Always helps the algorithms. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.